Hello guys, this is a review of the movie Last Christmas, starring the mother of dragons Emilia Clarke, as well as Henry Golding. This movie was inspired by the very famous song of the same name, that goes something like, "Last Christmas I gave you my heart, but the very next day you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I'll give it to someone special." I love that song. I love all the Christmas jingles, really getting me in the spirit. So speaking of which, last Christmas I watched this movie on theaters, and I really liked it. For some reason, I waited until like last week to start watching it again, and I've been watching it like very often. This movie follows the story of Kate. Kate, which is played by Emilia Clarke, is an elf in a Christmas store that functions year-round. It's not very probably not the best idea. I watched an interview where they were kind of making fun of that, but yeah, she works year-round in a Christmas shop. But her real dream, her biggest aspiration in life, is to be a singer, a famous singer. And she goes to auditions and stuff, but she's kind of, how can you say, disappointed with life. Last year in the movie, she had a heart transplant, so ever since, she lost all like hope for life, all the joy, all the happiness, all the good expectations, and now she can't sing as well as she used to, and she feels, as she said, that she's half dead, like there's something in her that's not hers. And she's always like complaining about everything. She's just discontented with life in general, until she meets this guy who's, and you're probably thinking, oh, same old romantic comedy, like we've seen it a million times. That's right, but hang in there. So Tom is outside the shop, and she's staring at him, and she goes outside, and like he's like, whoa, like where did you come from? He's looking at like a bird that's that's just standing there, and it poops on Kate's face. So he invites her for a walk, and she refuses, but then fate has them encounter each other again, and she accepts to hang out with him. And he introduces her to a whole new world within the same city. I think they're in London, I think. It's beautiful in London. Ah, the beautiful lights. But this girl is like so disappointed, like I said, that she just doesn't notice. She doesn't look up. And now that she starts looking up, that's his thing. He always says, look up. And she starts seeing like this insect right here, like these little ornaments of mice, a whole bunch of things. He takes her skating to prepare for an audition for Frozen on ice, and they have the time of their lives. They develop a really strong relationship with each other. There's a moment when, oh, and also to add to, little backstory with her, she left her parents' house because she feels suffocated there. Her mother has depressive episodes. She's dealing with a lot of traumas because she had to leave her hometown, I think is Czechoslovakia? Is that how you pronounce it? I'm sorry. But yeah, there was a war, so her family had to move to London, and she just never really got over everything that she had to live through. And her father is just on another place mentally. He doesn't want to deal with his wife, so he drives a taxi. And he used to be a lawyer, so you could imagine going from a lawyer there, but he couldn't like afford to take the same courses or something like that, because it doesn't work the same in every country. And her sister's a lesbian, and she ends up outing her sister too. So there's like a million things going on with Kate, and none of them are positive things. She works, like I said, on the shop, and she responds to a woman named Santa. It's played by her. And she calls her elf. It's very cute dynamic. But anyway, after a while of going out with Tom and having the time of their lives, she ends up going over to his place. He invites her because she's very drunk. She complains to him that she doesn't see him. Like, he disappears for days. And she can't reach him because he has his phone in like a cabinet or something like that. So once they're at his place, she confesses that she had a heart transplant and that she doesn't think that he'll be weird about it. He says, no, like forget about being normal. Like normal causes a lot of damage to people. I'm paraphrasing. And she wants to like have sex with him, and he tells her, no, not now. I don't think now is the right time. Like we barely know each other. And she's like, you know everything there is to know about me. I've told you absolutely everything. There's nothing more. But he insists. And later they meet at this beautiful, beautiful park place where they always sit on the same bench, and it's supposed to be like this refuge for by the way, I forgot to mention a very important detail. He's a volunteer at a shelter. So that's something that she's not very much into because she doesn't really help anyone. She's obviously, imagine, dealing with all those things herself to even think about helping others. So they like there's this beautiful place, like I said, filled with like lights and trees and flowers. And she meets him there and tells him, I'm finally doing better. Like I'm at the the shelter and helping people, mending my heart, and I'm not gonna fix it to have it broken by someone that's not ready for a commitment, because he tells her that he doesn't want her to depend on him. And she says, I'm not depending on you, but all these things. So after a while, she decides to go look for him again at the place that he invited her days ago, maybe a week ago. And there's a real estate agent right there showing the place, and he's like, oh, you're here to see it? And I'm like, oh, I don't know, like what you're talking about. So he then finds a smartphone, or I don't know if it's a smartphone, in a little cabinet. And she's like, oh, what a goof, it's probably his. And he's like, whose? Well, Tom, the guy that owns this place. And he tells her, no, like the last owner that was here died in an accident. He was very young. He was actually last Christmas. And there and then she realizes that Tom has been dead for a whole year. So the person that she's been seeing was really never there. It's a very like a Sixth Sense type of twist. And the movie ends with her making peace with it and hosting this big celebration. Like I said, she's now volunteering for the homeless shelter, and they have a big celebration and everybody's invited, and they sing a lot of awesome Christmas songs and have the time of their lives, and that's how it ends, on a very happy note. Let me talk a little bit about that little twist there. It's left up to like the viewer's interpretation of what could have happened. It could have been like, you could think of it as a gift from God, a spiritual meeting, it's just hallucinations, and she's going a little bit crazy. For me, I feel like it's like this real paranormal presence that only happened to her because she has a part of him, literally his heart, and that's why he was able to like go from one plane to another to like come back to this earth and visit her. And also because she was going through a lot of problems and a lot of bad things, and he was just there to help her. I don't want to go down the route like she was having like a very big breakdown, because he taught her a lot. Like he wasn't just there like, look, I'm a ghost, boo. He was there to help, and he helped her become a bright person with a very positive outlook on life and etc. So that's my take on it. It was really sad, and I'm the type of person, like, I watch a movie. The first time I watched this, I remember thinking, and I still do, that this is a light movie. It's not very heavy. It's not hard to digest. It's not hard to process. But at the same time, it's not exactly like just pink and roses all over the place. It has its moment. I don't know. It depends on the person viewing the movie, obviously. But for me, the more I watch it, the more I want to cry. And one of these days, I'm going to watch it all by myself, and I'm just going to cry and cry and cry and cry. Because I've been wanting to cry with this movie for a long time. I do like tear up a little bit, but I haven't really let go. And I think I'm ready to let go, because that's sad. Like the song that they play, like right when she notices, like she kind of stumbles down to the floor. Could you imagine having so much distaste for the world, for everything, for your family, for your friends, and you're just for your job, for yourself, and this person comes along that shows you a whole different world. This person is attractive to you. This person is kind, is respectful, is enlightening, everything. Only to realize that that person is not here and that you're never, ever going to be able to be with the person. Luckily for me, and for everyone watching, she kind of comes to terms with it. She's like, I could feel you. And he's like, well, you know, I guess one way or another, my heart was going to be yours. And such a beautiful, beautiful movie. It doesn't have like insane things that you've never seen before. It's a regular rom-com, but it's a rom-com that really, really gets to your heart. The acting was so pretty. The place was beautiful. The acting, this woman right here, whose name I should have remembered, she's amazing. Everyone here is amazing. The mother, it deals with a lot of issues like racism. They're taking a bus. Well, it's actually just Kate. And these people that are from her homeland are speaking in their native tongue. And this guy's like, why don't you go back to your country? And like, we don't want you here. Say like, all of you, go back where you came from. This is my country. And she goes over. Because another thing that they don't really like blurt it out, but she's kind of embarrassed of her roots. Kate is, because I don't know what's up with her, but I mean, it makes sense. You know, you want to fit in, you don't want to be singled out, and she had to endure all the trauma from her mother. But she likes to be called Kate instead of her full name, Katerina. And there she goes over to the couple that was just insulted by this guy in the bus, and she lets them know that they're not alone and that they are welcome and that is their home. And there's another scene where her mother is watching the news of people protesting, like, go back to your country or something like that. We don't want you here. And she's crying. She's having a breakdown and says, like, you know, all it takes is for just these people, like someone to say it's them. Like they point the finger at you and everyone else believes it. And I'm like, yeah, it's true. But then they cut the tension with I think she says, because I was watching it in Spanish, I think the day before yesterday. They say, I blame it on the push. So it's a very good mix between humor and sadness and a lot of feel, but then, like, you know how movies, you're like, I thought this was supposed to be easy to watch, and then they're just throwing all these bombs at me. But this one throws bombs, but then they put a little band-aid, you know, so you could feel better. This movie, like I said, it was very enjoyable, very fun. The more I watch it personally, the more I enjoy it. It's just so much fun. I really, really like it. It has really good messages all throughout. At the end, she ends up going over to her sister's house and apologizing. She apologizes to her friends who, like, she's been crashing with different friends and, like, just wrecking their home because she's just reckless. But she makes amends to everything she did, and people accept her apology. So it ends on a very good note. You know, it's what's expected. And I think that's it for this one. I just really enjoyed it. And now that it is the season to be jolly, so I would really recommend it if you haven't watched it already. If you have, then let me know what you think. I would give this movie a rating of... It used to be lower. It really used to be lower. But I guess now, after watching it several times, I would give it a rating of 10 out of 10 in its category, of course. And I think that's it for this one. Thank you for watching.